Thanksgiving? Did you guys have any good food? Did you have a lot of good times with family and friends? Did you not do any of that because you were at catching fire every single moment of your life? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So actually we're going to be talking about the Hunger Games a little bit today because we're going into the differences between pulp fiction, genre fiction, and literary fiction. So let's go over a few definitions. We have pulp fiction, which means we don't have a lesson and it's just for entertainment purposes. Genre fiction is when we learn a lesson, but it's restricted by, I would say, individual characteristics or details. This is where you have your genre fiction. So the message is revealed at the surface level. And then at these key points, they trickle down into your underlying message. One of the most common themes in literature is the fall of man or the loss of innocence theme. And this usually is referring to the Garden of Eden. So first you have your gender roles, and we're basically trying to say that women are no longer feminine in the traditional sense. You are supposed to act a certain way, and if you defy that, you're either not what you say you are, or you're going to be changing the definition of what you say you are. It also deals with social strategies by suggesting that young people will be very vicious toward each other in order to gain the spotlight. Can you think of anybody in your life who has done this? We have adultery and courtly love. Adultery basically means that if you have sexual relations before you are married, it leads to spiritual death. Courtly love means that if you can't get married to that person, you basically flirt with them and you allude to sexual relations without actually getting in trouble for it. So it's kind of like this sweet spot between sex and keeping your soul pure. Or that forbidden fruit idea where you're trying to get someone you really shouldn't have. Wait, okay, hold on. You make little baby secret, indiscreet steps toward being with that person while you feel guilty about it? I don't know. Whatever. It also suggests patriarchal authority as a theme. So, submission to a tyrant awards enormous pleasure. And I'm sure you could think of many role-playing games you play with your partner during sex that could totally support this theme. This episode is going one step further, and it could happen before you write your novel, or it could happen after you write your novel. But it's basically just asking, do you want there to be some type of underlying meaning to your story? And the neatest part is that even if you choose one or the other, people will still be able to come up with their own interpretations of what you've written. So if you don't have an underlying meaning, someone out there will find one. And if you do have an underlying meaning, someone will come up with a different underlying meaning. And they won't be wrong if they can prove it through the symbols and the metaphors you've chosen to use and whatever. And it should also be encouraging because it means that you are not restricted. You don't have to choose genre, literary, pulp. And as a reader, you don't have to be restricted to what the author is intending you to know. So that whole little spiel I just gave came from Roland Barthes. He says that if we focus on what the author wants us to learn, we are limiting ourselves to one single interpretation. He actually claims that the author is dead, which means that meaning is provided through creative reading. He also says that a text is a work transformed by interpretation. It shouldn't be self-contained.